Good evening everyone and welcome to Dagenham Redbridge as West Ham make that short journey to what feels like their second home as a club. Of course, this is where the women's play and the under-21s have had a few games this season, even in this competition. But the attention goes to the National League Cup as it is the last game of the group stage. West Ham have a chance to make it through to the quarter-finals, and here are your team lineups for this evening's affair. Starting off with the home side, the Daggers. Of course, it's 8 changes made since their 3-0 defeat against Millwall just a couple of weekends ago, made by the manager Lewis Young. In goal is ex-Lewis and Gillingham goalkeeper Nathan Harvey, with Chris Francis, Tom Eastman the captain, Dion Pereira, Josh Umera, Christian Nkusan, Trent Rendell, Caden Harrack, Oscar Rutherford, Junior Marias and Connor Parsons. As for the substitutions, it's 4 who are starting against Millwall that find themselves on the bench in Jake Hessenthaler, Ryan Hill, Shiloh Remy, Dylan Stevenson, Paul Kalambayi and Reece Grego Cox. As for your young Hammers, just the one change made since the 1-0 victory last Friday against Sunderland, made by Mark Robson. Of course, in goal, the ever-present Finn Herrick, Junior Robinson, Ezra Mayers, who makes his 5th consecutive start, Preston Fearon, Aridas Golombekis, who makes his 2nd consecutive start for the first time as an under-21s. Levi Lang comes in for the absent Luizao, with Ryan Batram, Tyron Akpata, Josh Ajala, Kamari Swire and Amika Adieli. Substitutions for your young Hammers: Sean Tarima, Mason Terry, Dan Rigg, Sean Moore, Regan Clayton, back amongst it Brad Dolligan and Louis Brown. So those are your lineups for a big East London clash between these two. Of course, the Hammers are currently on 6 points from their opening 3 games. A win tonight would ensure that only Nottingham Forest or Sutton could catch them, and both teams having to play one another means West Ham would have a tight grip on the quarter-finals. Here we are going in towards the dugout to our right and the tunnel, with the mascots waving the flags in the colours of Dagenham and Redbridge. Of course, usually we often see the colours of claret and blue around here. We were here on Sunday, of course, for the women's game against Chelsea, and we'll be back here next Sunday in their game against Everton. But the attention, of course, turns to this National League Cup game. West Ham started their first ever National League Cup campaign not the best. Of course, it was a 4-2 defeat away at Braintree. But then, ever since, this brilliant run of form has seen 2 of their last 4 wins come in this competition, with the 2-0 win against Sutton and the 2-1 win against Ebbsfleet being the standout performances for the Hammers so far. They'll look to go one step further and make it 3 wins out of the 4 and make it virtually impossible for them to exit the competition. As for Dagenham, they started off the campaign with a brilliant 10-goal thriller against Spurs. Of course, if the game does end in a draw, then there will be a bonus point up for grabs, where it will then go to penalties. They did end up losing, though, against Tottenham Hotspur on penalties by 5-3. They backed that up with a 2-1 win against West Brom, and they were down to 10 men in that game as well. But then a 3-1 defeat to Forest has meant they've seen a draw, a win and a loss in their opening 3 games. They'll look to try and get 3 points this evening, which will see them leapfrog West Ham. So a lot riding on it, and of course we know the lucrative prize money of £1 million that goes towards whatever National League club wins the competition. So if they do win it and get to the final, of course, standing in their way, the young iron side and are filled with confidence. Of course, a lot of youngsters stepping up. Aridas Golombekis, one of the standout performances of late. Good to see him in the starting lineup, giving his 2nd start in a row. Levi Lang, of course, he's coming back in since his loan against Cheltenham. This is his 2nd start after that loan. And then it's never position in the under-21s, that of course fill out Mark Robson's starting 11 as they come out. Dagenham and Redbridge leading the way. Both skippers in Tom Easton, the man to the left, and then of course the fans' favourite in Ryan Battram to the right, leading out their side for the last game in the group stage in this National League Cup. I'll just run you through, if you're just joining us here at the Chigwell Construction Stadium, also known as Victoria Lane. The lineups are as follows: Dagenham Redbridge first in goal, Nathan Harvey; number 2, Chris Francis; the captain, Tom Eastman; Dion Pereira, 9 goals in the National League, the number 7 for Dagenham Redbridge tonight. That's definitely to keep the West Ham centre-backs occupied. Josh Umera, Christian Ngusan, Trent Rendell, Kaiden Harak, Oscar Rutherford, Junior Marias and Connor Parsons. And your hammers right there, of course, Finn Eric, Junior Robinson, Ezra Mayers, Preston Fearon, Aridas Golombekis, Levi Lang, Ryan Battram, Tyrone Akpata, Josh Ajala, Kamari Swire and Amika Arieli. So amongst that, of course, you can see the back three being Mayers, Golombekis and Lang, with Robinson and Adieli in the wing-back positions. The same midfield too that we saw on Friday night in Preston Fearon and Tyrone Akpata, with Ryan Battram and Kamari Swire just playing in behind Josh Ajala, who of course was the match winner on Friday. The goal just on the hour mark against Sunderland. It was well worked between himself and Kamari Swire. And of course, Finn Herrick with the distribution to really gain the yards on the Black Cats. They're just having their last huddle before kick-off. Substitutions, of course: Sean Tarima, Mason Terry, Dan Riggs, Sean Moore, Regan Clayton, Brad Dolligan and Louis Brown. So the referee, Paul Johnson, doing the coin toss. Bit of a size difference there between Battram and Eastman, and of course that's a big reason as to why the National League Cup was set up. It allows Premier League 2 academies to play up against physical opposition, and then it also allows National League sides to come up against some of the best academies in England. But it will be the best academy in England to get us off underway. Josh Ajala in the centre circle, ready to kick off proceedings here at West Ham's second home. Johnson just ensuring everyone is on the pitch to be 11v11. Paul Johnson gets us off underway here as West Ham kick us off from right to left. Back in their away strip, of course. And Dagenham managed to bring the ball down after Tyrone Akpata tried to find one of the attackers, likely to be Battram as it was headed over to that far right side. Already, West Ham getting stuck in, making Josh Umera aware of his surroundings. Adieli just back to Ezra Mayers. Looks to have had a haircut since Friday. Had the afro out and now gone down the route of the corner roads by the looks of it. Pato trying to create an option for Golombekis, but he's more focused on what's down that right hand side. It goes beyond Ajala and then it's cleared up by Eastman. So they try to stretch it down to this right hand side, and Mayers just sees that go out of play. Of course, he had a good game on Friday. So did the West Ham defence, admired by myself and Mark Phillips, who was in the gantry that evening. Really tough to break down, especially in the Premier League 2. Of course, Braintree put 4 past West Ham early on in the campaign. Since then, and since this good turn of form, West Ham have managed to be smart in defence, and with Caelan Casey being favoured by Graham Potter. Colin Beckis has stepped in, and here he is with some defending to do, and it looks like it could be a penalty, and it is. Early on, Paul Johnson blows his whistle and points towards the penalty spot, and you can't really argue against that. Taranak Patter, the man that brought him down, and that will disappoint West Ham. It was an awkward clearance from Lang as it rebounded into his centre-half colleague in Golan Beckis. And it was actually Levi Lang that brought him down. Patter was there close to the action, and Lang has his hands on his head, and now Herrick is going to have to try and produce a save here early on. And it's a difficult one as well, a difficult situation for the goalkeeper to be put under. Dion Pereira, 9 goals in the National League. No goals in the National League Cup, but he has a chance to get one here, and he does. Sends Herrick the wrong way, and that poor clearance has proved very costly for the Hammers as they find themselves a goal down in 3 minutes. Calmly taken penalty. He knew exactly what he was doing, just stroking it into the left of the net. Dion Pereira gets his first National League Cup goal, which is something West Ham wouldn't wanted to have occurred. So now they're pegged back. First time in this competition where they've conceded the first goal. Of course, it was Ajala that scored early on against Braintree. Sutton. It was a 2-0 win, and Ebbsfleet found themselves a goal down thanks to Josh Ajala early on. So a change in fortune here in this competition for Mark Robson's side. Other games on in this evening in this group. Sutton host West Brom, and Ebbsfleet host Nottingham Forest. As things stand, Dagenham and Redbridge find themselves second, Braintree top of the pile, West Ham in third. Sutton currently 1 apiece with West Brom, and Nottingham currently 0-0 against Ebbsfleet. Of course, both of those games are coming to an end in the first half. Dagenham don't just get the first goal, they also have the first corner and a second to double their lead. Herrick there, and then it struck towards Herrick's goal, but a player in full black was there to ensure it didn't hit the back of the net. That's a good challenge on the follow-up by Junior Robinson. Of course, if you're just joining us early on, Dion Pereira's penalty in the 3rd minute is what puts the hosts a goal up. And they're looking confident with the ball and able to pick out a colleague there, but they win it back with the second ball. And here's their number 11, Christian Ngusan. Swire just trying to hold off the pressure from Trent Rendell, the number 17. Herrick under pressure, but once again very calm under it. And here comes Fearon to try and charge forward. Ardielli just back to Mayers. To go in to help out. Fearon and Pato very close to one another. Here comes Ardielli once more. Swire. Good turn. And he's fouled. Smart work there from Kamari Swire, winning the foul, and West Ham getting a free kick. So West Ham have another chance to just recycle the ball, try and gain some momentum of their own. There's that early setback that really affected their opening plans of how they were going to play this match. We saw with the likes of Braintree, who possess such physicality and pace, There's a lot to deal with for the Hammers in the second half. And Dagenham look very similar with another dangerous run into the box. Fearon was there at the right place, but they're unable to clear their lines. Herrick palms it away, but into a dangerous area. They're unable to make the most of that, and Swire will try and come away with it. Fearon. Now towards Robinson on the right. Of course, West Ham have already played some games here as the under-21s, specifically in their Premier League International Cup games, where they beat Borussia Mönchengladbach and drew with Benfica. I remember Mason Terry having a brilliant game in that first Premier League International Cup game against Benfica back on towards the earlier part of the season. That was his only appearance for the Hammers this campaign. He finds himself on the bench this evening. And of course, Finn Herrick, the 18-year-old, has had some really bright moments since coming up from the under-18s last season. Of course, if you're new to the National League Cup, just as a reminder, it's made up of 32 teams, 16 of those, of course, in the Premier League 2 and 16 from the National League. And then the top 2 of each group, which there are 4 of, will make their way into the quarterfinals to then begin a typical knockout phase. And so far it looks like Dagenham could be taking that spot in the top 2. But in their way is 80 plus minutes in a West Ham side that have showed character in difficult moments during this season. And of course, it was an unfortunate clearance, the fact that it just ricocheted off Golombekis. Praise their defending, but it was unfortunate that the clearance just didn't go their way, and that's been the deciding factor so far. Good pressure from Dagenham and Redbridge, forcing West Ham all the way back towards their byline, but clever work there from Preston Fearon too, to take it there, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And he wanted to make that clearance to see it go out for a West Ham goal kick, and then that just nullifies the bodies that Dagenham and Redbridge had on West Ham in their final third. Golombekis again, going direct. Ajala trying to play off the shoulder, but he had the tall frame of Chris Francis just shielding the ball away from him. It could be a weak pass, but Trent Rendell was there. But Fearon cuts it out. This is promising. Ajala laying it off to Akpata. Now Robinson. Batram, Ajala and Swire to aim for it. He tries to feed a ball in. West Ham do get a throw. Golombekis. Fearon. Now Adieli. Mayers. Patter with the run to his right. Robinson trying to provide an option all the way over to that far side. Golombekis will find him. Robinson takes it in field. You can see they've got a good setup in the middle of the park, Dagenham and Redbridge. With a flat 4 or 5 at times. Just make it hard for West Ham to try and create something. But that's brilliant. A turn from Ajala, but Chris Francis got a decisive leg in. As if not, West Ham's top goal scorer would have had another opportunity on goal. this again. Eddie Ellie went through the defender. You felt that he was going to be favourite to it. And then a Jala on the turn, but really smart defending there from Chris Francis. To just stick out a foot and to take it away from Ajala's direction. Adiele may have felt a bit fortunate to have found Ajala in the end, as Tom Eastman looked like he was going to be the one to make that interception, but if anything he turned his torso away and that just allowed the ball to glide straight past him. Here's Rendell. Eastman again. And Francis. Here's Marias. Rendell. Nice pattern for a brief moment there, having to stick out a leg and taking Battram with him as he gets back up, looking like he just may have had a stud to his foot. Eastman the organiser. Now Rendell taking it inside. You can see the left back trying to make the run, and then they play the long ball. The fullback frustrated as he wasn't unable to retrieve that. But Dagenham Redbridge just playing it slightly later than he anticipated. But West Ham won't care if they get a goal kick. Alec finding Swire in the middle, tries to stay on his feet, but unfortunate there as his balance just went. You could see that when he made the turn, got past his man, he tried staying on his feet, but his arms were leaning forward, as was his body, and he just couldn't quite keep himself up. You can admire a player who tries to stay up on their feet when they could go down. Robinson. Now Lang. Patter, look at the pressure from Dagenham and Redbridge. They like to press in numbers at times, especially in the midfield. Adiele, tricky feet. This time just trying to pass and move to create some momentum. Here's Patter. Adiele just trying to drift out to the left, and Swire dropping back a fair bit. Here's Fearon, nice turn, driving with the ball. Heavy touch pass goes beyond Swire. Now here's Fearon again. Dagenham Redbridge trying to come away with it. You can see Battram just trying to keep tabs on him. Now Ajala trying to press in on the goalkeeper Nathan Harvey, who of course has been receiving plaudits for his distribution. He was at Lewis last season in the Isthmian Premier Division. Played up against Mason Terry on 2 occasions when he was on loan at Concord Rangers. Dion Pereira. See Dagenham like to just pass it out on either side. They may show too much of the ball just for a brief moment. Oscar Rutherford looked like he could have been dispossessed from Robinson. Dagenham and Redbridge win a foul and a free kick in the West Ham half. Of course, West Ham's winning streak in potential jeopardy, having won 4 in a row. Of course, the Braintree game was in the middle of the hard run that we saw for West Ham, where they didn't win in 7 games, but they're currently enjoying their best run in all competitions of the season. And they've looked bright in parts as well. Just need to ensure Dagenham Redbridge don't capitalise and see the game out. That's a good flicked header, finding its way over to Marias. Now back out to Harak as he tries to curl one in. Does find the foot of Pereira. West Ham trying to close in on them as it's fizzed across the face of goal. Still alive for Dagenham Redbridge as they sense a second. Out on the edge of the box now. A lot of their players coming down this right-hand side, specifically through Trent Rendell, the number 17. Here's Francis, and now they look to try and create something on the left. Nice turn, but good defending from Lang. As Herrick plays it out towards Adieli. Then sent wrong again. This is good work as Dion Pereira fires one. And you can see, once that left his left boot, that it was going well wide. Of course, the danger man, the man that scored the penalty for Dagenham Redbridge in the 3rd minute. Having a good season in the National League as well. You'd fancy him to put one away, or to at least get it on target when he has a chance. He was unable to convert it then. Battram just trying to chase down Rutherford. Eastman looking for the long ball. He's got Golombekis and Robinson around it where it landed. So he tries to come over the ball, Junior Robinson, and he wins a foul. Golombekis just on that right-hand side next to Lang. It looked like Lang was about to take it, but then they changed minds. Golombekis all the way back to Herrick. Now Fearon. Lang just playing that diagonal pass towards that patter to take his opponent out of the game, but Adieli picks it up. Tricky feet once again, but only option is Fearon. Will look to send one over and switch it out towards Battram. He tried to find the headed pass towards an underlapping Robinson. Could Swire have a chance to maybe pick this up? He can't. And now Rendell will just clip it forward. And a push in the back there from Lang on Marias. So it will be another Dagenham Redbridge free kick. Of course, Tom Eastman, centre half and number 5, youth at Ipswich, and played a large amount of his career at Colchester between the years of 2011 and 2023. And after that long stint that stretches over a decade, played for Colchester, that's when he penned a deal with Dagenham and Redbridge. He's currently in his 2nd season now for the Daggers. The 33-year-old, Zumera, looked to have potentially been fouled as he slipped to the floor. Here's Dion Pereira. The pass goes just behind Battram and opens up room. See Francis just lurking, but it's fired towards Herrick's near post, and it's a calm, collected save. Fairly routine for the 18-year-old. But he had to be alert to the danger. As you could see, once he fired it, it did dip, which can sometimes cause an issue. But not for Herrick there. Here's Mayers again. Swire, who likes to drop deep. One of 2 players, Kamari Swire and Junior Robinson, who have played the most amount of minutes for the Hammers in this season's National League Cup. In the outfield player category, of course. Finn Herrick would be the player to have played every single minute. Here's Lang. And Mayers. Lang, who looks to be playing in that central position of the back three, which is often occupied by Luizao, who is of course absent from the game. He did come off at half time as well against Sunderland, so perhaps he's just got a bit of a knock or an injury that has had to see him sidelined for a period of time. Of course, it opens up another chance for a player like Levi Lang, who may want to find some game time back in this West Ham under-21 side. The 21-year-old may even be loaned out again to try and get some more senior minutes in the summer or at some point in 2025. And that's a poor back pass, and West Ham won't care as they get their first corner of the game. Rendell looking frustrated at the fact that he misplaced it, trying to find his skipper. But West Ham will take that, and so will Ryan Battram. As it'll be his delivery. Often we see Akpati going in as a short option, but there won't be any for this corner. Yes, there will. As Adieli looks to come in. Yeah, there he just trots away, perhaps trying to fool his opponent, but Battram's unable to beat the first man. Disappointing there from tonight's skipper. The threat isn't over fully. They still have a throw in the Dagenham Redbridge half. Adieli trying to find an option in short. Akpata just comes into the frame. So does Fearon. Adieli. Here's some room. Here's a promising opportunity. But that's good defending. A good block from Eastman to take that away from the danger. That just lurked behind him in front of Nathan Harvey's goal. It will be another corner in a matter of minutes for the Young Irons. But you felt Adieli could create something there as he had the green grass around him and he had the time to play in a ball. So the corner kick changer, the corner kick taker will change, and it will be Preston Fearon, who curls one in, gets a second opportunity as Ajala strikes it, hits a Dagenham and Redbridge player as it's cleared away, but doesn't go far as Robinson has room. Will he fancy a strike? No. The short pass to Akpata, it's a low ball in. But the ricochet falls in favour of the hosts as they're then able to come away with it, but not for long with a poor pass like that. Fearon looking dangerous here. Probably the closest West Ham have got to setting something up. As they have plenty of black shirts in the Dagenham and Redbridge penalty area. Just unable to find one of them. Especially with Akpata when he made that run down the right with Robinson's smart short pass. Heavy touch once again, falling in favour of Josh Ajala. Colin Beckis stroking it out towards Robinson. Now Lang again. Mayers doesn't really have many close options, but Battram just goes in short. Now he tries to make a run down the left. Adieli unable to find him, of course, with the pressure of Rendell. Too much pressure to the extent it gives away another foul in favour of West Ham. So here's Mayers. We don't see a lot of the ball in the way West Ham set up with the back three. Often when West Ham are trying to create an opening from the defence, he likes to occupy what's in front of him. Ajala. Nice work there between the two. Here's Battram. Great opportunity for West Ham. First shot on goal, and it falls to Ryan Battram, whose eyes must have lit up as it was slid into him very well. Brilliant weight of pass. Battram got it on target, But props to the link-up play there between Ajala and Swire. The goalkeeper making himself big, Nathan Harvey. A brilliant point-blank save to deny Battram the first goal of the campaign. And that certainly is the closest West Ham have got. And they've just managed to unlock Dagenham and Redbridge there. And it was the tricky interplay between Ajala and Swire that did it. And Battram made the smart run. He just didn't have the composure to try and beat Nathan Harvey. But that'll please Mark Robson. Not the fact that it didn't end in the goal, but just shows the signs of threat that West Ham can pose on this Dagenham and Redbridge side. And any side, in fact. Of course, it was Ajala and Swire who linked up nicely on Friday, so they're finding form together. Long ball played down the middle. Been fairly all West Ham actually in the last 10 plus minutes. Haven't really been looking to our right as much. So of course please West Ham and their fans. Adieli in towards Swire. Tries to find the pass back to Adieli. But once again Eastman making himself big by lunging to intercept that. It's another West Ham corner, third of the evening. And we'll go back to the original corner kick taker. Battram, who was unable to beat his first man in the first corner, so he'll look to send in a better delivery. Fearon, who took that second corner, is just outside of the penalty area. Potentially hoping for a rebound to fall his way. But plenty to aim for towards that right-hand side of the penalty area. Battram once again, a disappointing corner, as he just doesn't get the height that he would have desired. And it's fairly straightforward for Dagenham to clear it away first time. As we approach the half-hour mark, West Ham starting to find their mojo in this game. Starting to see more of the silky bits of play we often see with this fluid and passing side. But of course, it's that early mistake that led to the penalty that Dagenham and Redbridge were able to capitalise on, specifically Dion Pereira, the number 7, sending Herrick the wrong way and slotting it into the left of the goal net. Fearon to Golombekis. A real focal point in the press for Dagenham and Redbridge. There, of course, is their striker, Josh Umera. West Ham managing to just play around it. Now they'll look to try and gain some yards. Fearon and Akpata forming a solid midfield partnership as well. That's a poor pass in field. Up to Umera. Trying to hold it up against the pressure of Levi Lang. Ajala looking to try and win it back. Calls for a foul, and that's what it'll be. So West Ham get a free kick in a good position considering it's in the Dagenham and Redbridge half. It looked for a brief moment that Dagenham were just going to be able to pass it around the back, but not for long. West Ham now have a chance to attack. They play it short. We start to see the cluster of Dagenham and Redbridge players separate, and that strike from Ezra May is off target, fairly ambitious. I think he struck it with his right foot as well. Typically a left-sided player, so striking at supposedly his weaker foot, if there is one, of course. So elsewhere in this group in the National League Cup, of course, Group D, Sutton currently 2-1 up against West Brom, and Nottingham Forest Ebbsfleet is still goalless, meaning West Ham dropped down to 4th, Sutton in 3rd. So that means the top 3 of this group are filled by teams from the National League, and Braintree, Dagenham Redbridge, and of course Sutton. Here goes Swire in towards Robinson, fairly isolated, and then he awkwardly just falls into the Dagenham and Redbridge player. He got the ball from Swire and had so many Dagenham Redbridge players around him, he didn't really have much option. And they were able to comfortably win it back and win a foul too. Just behind Francis there. Well, they tried to clear it forward, but Golombekis, the tall frame, is there to intercept. Adieli trying to just bring his arms away to suggest he hasn't fouled, or trying to make a foul, but the referee, Paul Johnson, doesn't think so, and Dagenham and Redbridge take that free kick quickly. But that's wasted, as West Ham just win it back. Jala looked to have his arm around his opponent there, and Connor Parsons looked like he was doing a subtle headlock for a brief second. So Tom Eastman plays the short pass over towards the left-hand side as they carry on the run of the overlap. And Redbridge haven't really had a passing move to shout about in the last quarter of an hour. They'll try and make one happen here. West Ham starting to gather some form into this game with the way they're playing, which has prevented Dagenham from trying to get a second. I suppose they frustrated Dagenham at times as well by winning fouls, cheap fouls from Dagenham and Redbridge, to just stagnate their momentum. Francis. Eastman again. Number 11, Christian Gusan, goes in to help out. This is underneath that. Rendell will keep it alive, and here's Dion Pereira, looking dangerous up against Akpata. Tries to take it away from Fear, and he does so. Now he's got Adieli. Brilliant run here from Dion Pereira. Oh my, so close. West Ham lucky there, but it's still alive for Dagenham and Redbridge. They surely got to clear their lines, but Umera finds it over to Marias, who then curls one in, and Herrick palms it away. As Rendell will see that go out for a throw. And just as I was saying, West Ham were stagnating the Dagenham and Redbridge momentum. They all of a sudden create something out of nothing, and by they, it's that man there, Dion Pereira, taking on 3 players at once and making it look easy. But it was a brilliant save from Herrick. The positioning of his right leg as well to keep it down, as that was on target and that would have been going in. Great save from the West Ham United shot stopper. That's the kind of confidence Dion Pereira has, and West Ham just have to be careful, because that was very, very dangerous. And they try and make danger of their own happen. They can't. That pass is cut out by Oscar Rutherford. And back to the captain, Tom Eastman. Umera trying to head it towards Pereira. Akpata sliding in, and that's great. The second time there is he is on the floor. Had to be careful as Pereira, the danger man, was around him. He was able to flick the ball away before Pereira could win it back. Mayers. Now Akpata looking to drive West Ham forward. That ball goes underneath Robinson and is occupied then by Rutherford. Of course, West Ham coming into this game and played one game more in the last week compared to Dagenham Redbridge. The Daggers had their away game at Halifax postponed at the weekend, so it gave them a chance to rest after their 3-0 defeat against Millwall at the Den just 2 Sundays ago. And here they try to come again for a second. Rendell. Good turn away from Fearon. Slightly heavy touch from Umero, which just allowed West Ham to come in and play it back to Herrick, who thumped it forward. Dagenham and Redbridge are just starting to wake up again now, you sense, towards the break. Lewis Young mentioned how that break with the Halifax game being postponed helped them. Of course, they've got a big, heavy schedule now coming up towards the end of the season, where every week is a game on Tuesday and Saturday. So having that week off can actually really help them going forward. It will also mean another rearranged game against Halifax to fit in their busy schedule. As for West Ham, their rearranged game against Liverpool, as discussed, is now on the Sunday, the 9th of March. Here's Golombekis. Back to Lang. There's Swire. Adiele. Of course, we bring you this game on the West Ham YouTube channel and their social media channels, so do follow and subscribe, like and comment on the stream about how you have found this game so far. West Ham have looked promising at times, but Dagenham and Redbridge are starting to just come up trumps again against this young Hammers side. Of course, West Ham bringing you all the under-21 games at home, and a lot more as well. We'll be showing next week's game against Stoke at 7 PM on Friday the 31st of January at Rush Green. And of course, Mark Phillips will be on the co-commentary there. A big shout out to Mark. Makes my job far easier having his knowledge and banter in the gantry next to me. So he is missed as Dagenham look to come forward for a second and double their lead. But it was a safe save from Finlay Herrick to deny them, specifically Junior Marias. So just under 5 minutes left of the first half. West Ham conceded early on in it. I'll be hoping it doesn't happen towards the latter stages of this first period. But they're looking good here through Adiele. He's got 2 Dagenham players onto him though, in Rendell and Pereira. Has the confidence to go alone and take on Rendell. No real support. He plays for the corner and he gets it. Good work there from the West Ham number 11. He's such a presence down that left-hand side. Such a work ethic as well. So this time it'll be the 4th West Ham corner, and the 2nd time Preston Fearon's taken it. He has Adiele in short. Plenty of height on it this time. Finds a Dagenham and Redbridge player though. But Robinson plays it out towards Akpata. First time ball in, it's dangerous, but Eastman was alert to the ball. He knew his surroundings and just allowed Nathan Harvey to come and collect it. Robinson Played that pass. Akpata had to put plenty of power behind it. The pass from Robertson, of course, he passed it fairly off balance. So it didn't come to him with much pace, meaning the ball he played in would have had to have been fiercely struck, and he got plenty of power on it. Just didn't quite have the accuracy to find a player in black. Eridas Golimbekis was close to it. But here's Akpata again. Golimbekis. Awkward pass, and he hits the floor in frustration, but he has to be alert here as he's got some defending to do behind him. But that's brilliant tracking back from the Hammers to support their teammate after making that error. And that's how you really do defend as a team. When one of the players makes a mistake, you're then all there to win it back, and play as a team and together. Dagenham Redbridge aren't able to make the most of that, partly down to the ethic to get back shown from the Irons. As Mayers just shields the ball away nicely from Dion Pereira. Now Akpata. Here's Adiele. Always likes to show his tricky feet. Try and fool the defenders he's up against. Swire on the turn. And that's a brilliant ball threaded through. Here's Robinson. Late chance here in the first half for the Hammers, but Robinson's unable to pull it back and find Batchram. But really well worked from Swire. He's made things tick in this first half. Robinson making that run again down the right channel. Across the penalty area, or that's where he was hoping it to go, but it comes off a Dagenham Redbridge player. There will be a corner on that far side. The number 20, Caden Harrack, was there sliding across to prevent that ball from going in the mix-up. They have another chance to send in a good delivery. Preston Fearon's latest corner threatened Dagenham a fair bit, but they play it short for the first time. Fearon, low ball in, but it was met by the head of Umera. Fearon may have a second chance. Threading it out to Adiele. Rendell close to him. Forced back to Junior Robinson. Patter again, now Fearon. Dagenham just pushing West Ham back, albeit there's plenty of players in a forward position, but the Daggers will try and hit back as we approach the 45th minute mark now. It looks to be 1 minute added on. Not many stoppages, if any actually. No injuries in this first half, which is positive to see. The only stoppage was, of course, the Dagenham goal. After Levi Lang, unfortunately, fouled the Dagenham attacker, which then let Dion Pereira slot the penalty home. Do they have a late opportunity here to double their lead? Good run across the face, and it was Umera who ducked. You'd have felt if he actually kept his head up, he could have nodded that home, but thankfully for West Ham, he didn't. And here's Herrick, who'll just try to boot it away, or he won't. He plays the smart pass to Mayers. And now Fearon, who looks to send it forward, perhaps for a late West Ham chance, but that will be the end of the first half action. And of course, West Ham going into the break, a goal down. They'll look to try and improve on that in the second half. But they may be going into the break on the losing side, but they've certainly shown glimpses of looking promising when they've been getting the ball into those attacking areas. We'll be back in just under 15 minutes' time for the start of the second half, but it ends here after the first period. Dagenham 1, West Ham 0. Welcome back, everyone. The start of the second half almost upon us as the players are back out onto the pitch, ready to get proceedings off underway. There are your West Ham players looking to try and get back into the lead. Of course, 4 wins in a row coming into this game. They could make it 5. It will be a tough ask, but they have made good opportunities. They have created chances. It just hasn't been the clinical nature that you would typically want or expect at times. There is going to be a substitution by the looks of it. Regan Clayton is coming on. Of course, we all know the story. Sidelined for a long period of time. Came on as a substitute late on Friday against Sunderland, and now he'll be playing even more minutes this time round, playing the second half. So that's good for Regan Clayton and his progression back into full fitness. Just what Mark Robson would want, really, being able to bring him on to play more minutes, and this may be something Mark Robson wants as well, as Swire testing the goalkeeper early on. Could have got an early equaliser in this second half. It's not over just yet, as Fearon tries to go in to win it back, but then it's played close to Ngusan from the 24, Marias. Could have been an emphatic start to this second half. Swire full of confidence, and you can understand why. Looking to just strike it and see the dip. Harvey met it well. And West Ham will have to try and play out from the back once again. And that all came from the Dagenham and Redbridge kickoff as well. Clayton playing down the left wing. Of course, Adieli is still on. And so is Ezra Mayers. Levi Lang too. And Golan Beckis almost could have been an early second half opportunity. Golan Beckis was there. It looked like for a brief second, though, that his counterpart was going to nip it in behind him and run on through, and it would have been a one-on-one. Even worse, there would have actually been a second player there who could have held his line and be there for the tap-in. That player being, of course, their number 29, Connor Parsons. So a high-tempo start so far, fairly end-to-end. Both sides having big glimpses of hope at getting the first goal in this second half. Of course, this is the final game of the group stage for West Ham. There are still other games to be played in the National League Cup. Not every final game is happening this evening. Of course, there are 2 more games after this evening in Group D, those being, of course, Braintree hosting Tottenham. That's next week, and then in 2 weeks' time it's Sutton versus Nottingham Forest. As mentioned earlier, if West Ham were to get the win, it would pretty much guarantee them top 2 status. Of course, Sutton and Nottingham Forest knocking on the door of the top 2, but those two still have each other to play. So it would be a real opportunity. Still a whole half of football left to play, though, and we've been pleased with what we've seen from West Ham so far. Ooh, but the goal-scoring ability, Ryan Battram coming close. The closest out of all of the West Ham players this evening, as Herrick will just roll it out shortly to Fearon. Robinson. Of course, the change. Ryan Battram came off for Regan Clayton. So it'll be frustrating for Battram after a great opportunity. Struck straight at Harvey. Opens up an opportunity for Clayton down this left-hand side. And it looks like Adieli is now going to be drifting down the right. So Clayton playing like a left wing back in this second half. Here's Eastman, who saw a lot of the ball in that first period. Back to Harvey. The pressure from West Ham, however. Dagenham having to force it long. Golan Beckis there with a good interception. Just trying to stay on his feet. He finds a neat pass through to Adieli as it goes through his legs. Opens up a chance here for Robinson. He looks to almost be brought down. That was a 50-50 and the referee believes so too. But just for a brief moment, you felt like Robinson was going to be through one-on-one against Harvey. It went through Adiele. Ajala managed to get a decisive flick that saw it through to Robinson. But it was good defending. It's arguable. But the defending did enough to prevent Robinson from not only not managing to strike it, but also stay on his 2 feet. And the assistant referee's flag is raised on that far side. And it will be a throw as the ball just briefly goes out of play there. So calls for a penalty from West Ham. They'll be frustrated that they felt that Robinson was fouled there. And now Akpata goes to the floor. It's not a throw, it's a free kick. Can't really see the issue there by the byline. But Dagenham have a chance to double their lead, but it's a good header away from Swayet. Still alive as it's struck by their number 11 and Gusan. And a slight ricochet which could have put off Finley Herrick. Sees him deal with that well. Here comes Robinson. Adiele just trying to turn away from danger, but he's fouled in the process. So a free kick for the Hammers. Now Fearon. Over towards Gollum, Beckis and Regan Clayton. It's intercepted and Dagenham look to try and charge forward. Zumera makes that diagonal run down the middle. Brilliant run here as he's up against Mayers. And it will be another free kick. Carbon copy as to where the last free kick was taken. There's the number 29, Connor Parsons, who was trying to take it round the outside of Ezra Mayers. And he was forced to make the foul. And West Ham have more defending to do with a Dagenham free kick. Plenty to aim for, and it finds the back of the net. 6 minutes into this second half, and West Ham find themselves 2 goals down. It's Trent Rendell who rose high to head it home and put more pressure on West Ham. It was a well-timed jump. A neat ball, as it was Rendell who just rose beyond Akpata. Such close distance to Finley Herrick, who just saw it go past him. You can see Clayton there trying to just motivate his players, as that will be a sucker punch early on. It just makes the job for top 2 even harder now. Albeit elsewhere in the table, that's not the only goal that's been scored recently. It's now 2-2 between Sutton and West Brom, so West Brom have got an equaliser there. It doesn't matter what goes on around the group if West Ham finding themselves in a losing position. Although West Ham have had good moments of the game, it's just been Dagenham who have possessed the ability to be the more clinical of the two. But here's a great opportunity, almost for Ajala, but it was cleared away by Nathan Harvey. Of course, we've seen character from this West Ham side when they've been 2 goals down, specifically in the Premier League International Cup on 2 occasions where they came back from 2 goals down to 2-2. They can do it against European academies, but can they do it up against a senior National League outfit in Dagenham and Redbridge? There will be a goal kick. course, Dagenham in the National League started off with only one win in their first 7 and won 3 in a row, but since have failed to win consecutive league games, so it's a tale of inconsistency for them in the National League. They currently find themselves down in 14th, or 16th even. 32 points, 8 wins, 8 draws and 9 losses, so really inconsistent. They host Southend next, who are 14th, just 2 places above Dagenham, 1 point as well. So that's a big game this weekend for them. And of course they have benched a few of their starters. Jake Hessenthaler, Ryan Hill, Sheila Rennie, Dylan Stevenson and Paul Kalambayi. They've got plenty of firepower to bring off on the bench, and it's a very attacking bench as well, as they look to come forward, as they look for a third. This is looking ominous for West Ham, but Mayers holds up his opponent well. He has to feed it out towards that right hand side, but it's still here for Parsons. Tries to take it beyond Clayton, unable to do so against Mayers. Patter will clear that away, and it could end up being a slick pass to Ajala. But Dagenham just playing with an air of confidence now, as they look to come forward through Rutherford. It's played across the face of goal again. Herrick palming it away just in front of him. Seen that happen on a couple of occasions now, where they've played it from the flanks, and Herrick's had to be alert where he's come off his line to punch it away. He likes to get involved in the action, and you can see it there. Rutherford's header is almost cut out by Akpata. But here's Fearon, good pass out towards Swire. The first goal scorer for Dagenham just onto him in Dion Pereira. Here's Adieli though, playing down this central role. It's end to end and fairly open for Dagenham, as Golombekis has more defending to do. Once again, another ball played across the face of goal. Herrick unable to get it, but Clayton is on that far side. Golombekis darting back, as it was a golden opportunity for the number 9, Josh Umera, to try and latch on the end of that firm Rutherford ball from the left. Here's Clayton down the West Ham far side. Rendell, the second goal scorer, playing it all the way back to Nathan Harvey. Ajala pressing in. Adieli looking to try and prove to be a menace down the right, after switching from the left wing back role following Batram's substitution for Regan Clayton. As he fouls the opposition there, and they get another free kick, Dagenham. Dion Pereira down, and there's 2 substitutes warming up. 3 in fact, 4. Tells you how my eyesight is. So 4 substitutions coming on for Dagenham, as they look to have appeared one after the other. And Regan Clayton looked to have maybe brought down his opponent there, but the referee believes that was soft and he went down without any need to. So West Ham look to try and bring it forward through Robinson. Up against Rutherford, but Rutherford looks to win that race, and Robinson falls to the floor. Held up by Marias. Now Harak and Eastman. There looks to be 4 changes made at the same time around the hour mark. Of course, West Ham not starting this second half off the way they would have wanted, just like the first as well. Of course, if you are watching, and where you are watching, do subscribe and follow to the West Ham YouTube channel, like and comment on the stream. Who have been your players of the match so far? Who's impressed you from West Ham, albeit the scoreline isn't in their favour, but there's still been neat pieces of play that we've witnessed in the opening hour here. Colin Beckis, a player that I'm certainly looking forward to seeing get more minutes for the under-21s. Doesn't have the most glamorous move there as he brings down his player and he fouls Josh Umara. The referee's still having words with him. There looks to be an opportunity now for maybe a little huddle for Mark Robertson's side, as we're going to have 4 players come on. The first is going to be their number 10, and that's for the number 24. So Ryan Hill is replacing Junior Marias. You can also see there number 30, Paul Kalambayi, the defender, who looks to be coming on. In fact, I think it's 5 substitutions made. So this is a lot of name work to do. So bear with me. The 16 coming on, Shiloh Remy. For number 7, Dion Pereira. Of course, Reece Grego Cox comes on, the number 14. He's on loan from Woking. A striker or a winger. He even played for the Republic of Ireland youth, the number 14, about to come on. Looks like Eastman's off as well, so perhaps that's for Kalambayi. A centre-back for a centre-back, like-for-like change made by the manager Young. And then, of course, Shiloh Remy, Dylan Stevenson. There he is, the number 18, an attacker as well, or a winger. As you can see, going straight up to that attacking position as well. He also played for Newcastle in his youth years as well. And the final one to be the number 4, Jake Hessenthaler. The player there in the shot. It's Rutherford who comes off. So all changes made by Lewis Young, which you never know, could work in West Ham's favour. When you see a big rejig of the squad, it takes a lot for them to get up to the speed with things, but perhaps that's just showing confidence in the depth that Lewis Young has available to him this evening. Time will tell, as we have less than half an hour to play. West Ham will hope that could be the case and they can capitalise on having basically half the team changed. And here's Ryan Hill with his first touch of the ball since coming on. Brings it into the penalty area, but he's got Harak just to his side. He'll send in a ball. Clayton will get enough to head it away. It's not completely clear. That time it is, and that's a good pass through to Swire. But a slightly awkward second touch allows Hill to just stick out his body to get to the ball before Junior Robinson could. Here's Chris Francis. Now another one of the substitutes in Reece Grego Cox. Parsons. West Ham just laying off the pressure. Try and stay in their positions. Kalambayi out towards Rendell. And Usam in support. And number 14 will go alone. Here he is again with a second attempt up against Clayton. That's good to block the box there. Not allowing the cross to get into the danger zone. Presenting Shiloh Remy, the winger, who's recently come on, previously of QPR Academy. So Ryan Hill trots over towards that far corner flag. So another opportunity for Dagenham to score. It's an outswinger. He goes through a cluster of players and it's struck by Rendell. Well, not really. He scuffed it and it went behind him. This time it's struck well. Yeah, just off target from Connor Parsons. He looked to try and swerve its way into the right corner. Nice cut back there as he changed his direction. Perhaps would have fancied it to curl a bit more. He hit it with pace. Here comes Swire. Looks to show his pace. He manages to work it through with a bit of fortune. The Dagenham and Redbridge player was off balance. Into their final third now though, West Ham. Here's Lang. Out to Golombekis. Only option is Mayers. Fearon. Beautifully done. Finding Adieli. Swire making a run into the box. It's just behind him. Akpata's there. But Ryan Hill with some great defending to slide it away. But what a ball that was from Fearon. Here he is again. The quality shown there from his left foot. Adieli popping up on the left this time. Another ball in, but it comes off a player in red and blue. So it will be another corner. But look at that. First time. The vision. Didn't even seem like he was fully looking that way. But he sensed where Adieli was going to make that run. But perhaps that final ball was awkward for Swire and Akpata. Albeit it was in a good position. It was just in between the two that fancied their chances in the penalty area. So off comes Josh Ajala. The player who scored West Ham's first ever goal in the National League Cup is replaced by Sean Moore, who hasn't featured much in the National League Cup compared to the other competitions. Only 7 minutes across the 3 appearances in total. And Sean Tarima comes on as well, just like he did on Friday night. Corner taken short. Fearon looks to put in another ball. Dealt with well, and then Clayton. His eyes lit up as he fancied his chances from outside of the area. What a goal that would have been, and what an occasion as well, given the timeout he's experienced in the last year. The corner is the outcome. Harvey sending it over towards the right. Now Rendell again. Of course, doubled Dagenham's lead. Golombekis just having to shield Rhys Grego-Cox away from him. Here's Tarima. Looking ambitious to try and get it forward. Once again, Hill sliding in. The central midfielder, previously of Stoke City youth, found himself on the bench after starting their game against Millwall on the 12th of January. Going towards Swire. Tries to take it on the outside and strikes it high. The referee raising his hand to signal an offside was there. Well, actually, it's a corner, which is good for West Ham. The referee looked over towards the assistant. And for West Ham, it will be a corner kick. Of course, it did come off Nathan Harvey. After that high strike from Swire, West Ham had a chance to pull one back. But not with a ball like that, as Harvey collects that and welcomes a delivery from Junior Robinson. Golombekis managing to get ahead of his man there as Moore with the improvisation just nods it towards Swire. Didn't have the power on it to reach the number 10. It's cut out by Fearon, who's looked dangerous, calls for offside, and unfortunately it is the case as we go into the final 20 minutes at the Chigwell Construction Stadium, also known as Victoria Lane. That's a traditional name. So Nathan Harvey to take the free kick. Another offside. Panther just drifting back, and then Fearon plays it back towards Golombekis. Tarima. One of those balls down the channel. Here's Moore looking lively, poking it just ahead of Robinson, however. Now that just opens up a chance for Dagenham and Redbridge. Look how many players West Ham have forward that are darting back, Tarima being one of them, and the closest to the number 18, Dylan Stevenson. But that was a poor ball, and a weak effort, which falls kindly to Golombekis. There's Fearon. Alright, Patter. Moore, who tried to make things happening since coming on. A really nice ball finding Clayton as he whips it back in. Swire was coming low to try and meet that Clayton ball in, but it was Kalambai who got the significant touch away from the West Ham number 10. He was even signalling to the referee that he felt it was a goal kick. Well, judged by that replay, I think that's hard to see. So fairly a West Ham corner. As Clayton will whip it in. Mayers is there, and what a save that is from Harvey. Mayers with his hands on the back of his head, as if to say, how on earth did I not put that away? But it was good positioning from the number 3, and a terrific ball played in from Regan Clayton. Not the cleanest of finishes either from Mayers. It kind of came off his left thigh, and Harvey had to show off his reflexes. Fearon again. Robinson in room. Low driven ball across the penalty area. Clayton just nods it back to Fearon. Does he fancy another chance to play in a ball? Instead he goes for distance. There was some swerve on that strike, and Harvey had to drop it to just take the sting out of it as he collected it a second time. But Clayton playing with plenty of confidence. A swivel on this. In the end, fairly straight at Nathan Harvey. Clayton trying to get a clearance, popping up everywhere. Patter in towards Adieli. There will be a West Ham free kick after Patter's foul. Mark Robson with both arms raised, as if to suggest why there isn't a harsher punishment there. So of course the other game that is in Group D in Ebbsfleet and Nottingham Forest was 1-1 at full time, and Ebbsfleet won the penalty shootout, so they get a bonus point. Of course that is a part of the National League Cup. If you are drawing at full time, you are then given an opportunity for a bonus point through a penalty shootout. So with the scoreline, West Ham find themselves on. They may have to just deal with penalties if we're going to see any sort of big comeback in the final 16 plus minutes here. Been an entertaining game though so far, and West Ham have certainly brought it to Dagenham and Redbridge in points. There's Tarima. Now Moore. Patter. Dropping the shoulder and trying to come forward. Adieli. Patter again. Quick passing. Dagenham Redbridge staying resolute. And Patter trying to make things happen as he tries to thread one over towards Clayton, who's in an attacking position. But it's an offside free kick for Dagenham. And a player is down here, and of course all substitutions have been used by Lewis Young. Now of course I'm not suggesting this player is going to be off, but there must always be a worry when you've made every single substitution and then all of a sudden a player goes down with a slight injury. In effect you're harming yourself and potentially risking going a man down if something bad was to happen. Of course the West Ham wouldn't be complaining. Mark Robson is just having a team talk with his players for the final 15 minutes. And of course, this is the third to last game in January. It's been a good January so far, a very good January. This result just taking that winning momentum away. But apart from that, Mark Robson will be satisfied with what he's seen in the new year. 2 more games left. Away at Leeds. And then home to Stoke, of course, on the 31st of January. A typical Friday Premier League 2 kickoff time of 7 p.m. And that will be live on the West Ham YouTube channel. So Parsons back up on his feet. It will continue to be 11-11. As disappointing that can be for West Ham. Play to resume shortly. There will be Harvey, who, when called upon, he's made some really important saves. Of course, the one to deny Batcham in the first half, but then that Mayers opportunity just moments ago. 2 point-blank saves from the shot stopper, who typically doesn't start as much for Dagenham and Redbridge. Another keeper, Justin, one that typically finds himself in between the sticks. Nathan Harvey so far showing his worth in front of Lewis Young and trying to make a statement to start more. Colin Beckis. There's Tarima. Cut out by Hill, but that works for Fearon as he'll send it over towards Clayton. The long ball trying to find Sean Moore. Now Robinson. Moore looked away, but he was been in an offside position. Players all just moving over towards that right-hand side where Harvey's aiming. A few underneath it. Colin Beckis' clearance finds its way to Tarima. Back again. Parsons just trying to come away with it, but Patters onto him. Always showed so much energy in that midfield. West Ham's number 8 this evening, Tyrone Akpata. Always applauded for his attitude. And as well, the movement he brings in that midfield. Doesn't like to just see it stand still. Wants to continue passing and playing with pace, which is what you want in a central midfielder. Seldom do you see him willing to just pass it around without any movement. Here's Hill. Over towards the fullback Francis as he just sends it down the line, but that's a fairly hopeful ball, which Colin Beckis is there first. It's risky from Eric, but he likes to do things risky as he manages to poke it towards Akpata whilst he had a cluster of red and blue shirts around him. Might have been begging for an interception or a miss-hit pass. And Gusan back on the ball. Approach the final 10 minutes. West Ham with a big challenge. But so far it does look like this game will go the way of Dagenham and Redbridge as they hit West Ham so far in 2 crucial times. But can West Ham hit one back? Robinson blazed over. That was their chance. Unfortunate for West Ham, but Junior Robinson in a poacher's position, but he wasn't unable to poke it home. Once again, Fearon making things tick, placing a lovely outside of the boot pass towards Clayton, who put it on a sixpence for Robinson. A slight look at the ground to suggest there could have been an awkward bobble just before it came to his right boot. But when you feel like those chances go begging, it may just not be your night. But once again, the positive to take from that is the play West Ham showed there, especially Preston Fearon. What a game he's had as well. Really looking forward to seeing his development at West Ham. As that striker is pulled wide. But he's looked confident on the ball. He hasn't let the scoreline affect him. He's carried on playing with pure confidence and showcasing his brilliant passing ability. And of course, with Lewis Orford making his senior debut in the Premier League for West Ham, with Graham Potter showing and saying that he likes to use the academy, which we've seen from previous clubs like Brighton, of course. He's a proven manager to play the academy. So for the likes of your older, more senior under-21 players like Orford and Casey and of course Ollie Skiles, you would assume that they will be playing more with the first team, featuring off the bench more than what was previous. So that then just leads a great pathway for the likes of Preston Fearon to slot in into this midfield, the likes of Eridas Golombekis, and of course Regan Clayton's having a good game down that left-hand side as well. Ollie Skiles typically would play, and of course Amika Adiele. He's a versatile attacker as well as wing-back. I'm sure he doesn't mind when Mark Robson orders him to play further up the field, where he can relinquish his defensive duties. Not all the time, of course. So a free kick again for Dagenham. West Ham have come agonisingly close, and they'll be frustrated to have not at least scored once. But of course, on Friday, it was great defending. Let's not take away from that, but Sunderland did have a couple of opportunities where if they maybe played it better or struck slightly earlier, then they could have scored and the scoreline could have been much different. And that wasn't to be the case, and that seems to be the same narrative this evening, just unfortunately against West Ham. And this could potentially be the end of their cup competitions this season. Of course, didn't have the most successful Premier League International Cup campaign, but certainly looking a good deal in the Premier League too, especially with their defensive record. And with the likes of Fearon coming into this central midfield role and not looking a foot out of place given the fact that he's only just turned 18, I think that there's a lot of positivity around this under-21 side. A lot of potential as well. And West Ham are one of the more notorious clubs of being able to reach or see their academy prospects reach that potential. Clayton sticking out a leg, sliding in again. Questionable decision from the referee. I mean, now Clayton's going to go into the book. But if you have a look again here, it was a strong challenge, but that doesn't mean it was an illegal one. Just slowing down. Perhaps it was a foul. He was sliding in. It looked like with his knees first. His feet were actually behind where his knees were rather than out in front of them when he was going in for the slide challenge. So the first yellow card of the evening of what's been a fairly light game in terms of challenges and aggression. No real fouls so far. They have a chance to make it 3 as it's snatched there by their number 10, Ryan Hill. They tried to find their third. Here's Golombekis. Fearing once again, who's probably been my player of the match for West Ham. Once again, sending over a ball to that left-hand side. Terrific. Adieli. Tricky play. Now Akpata. Here's Fearon. He'll deserve a goal. He's got too many bodies in front of him to try and have a go. Adieli. West Ham getting close, but not close enough. The throw will be the outcome in their final third. In towards Fearon again. Unable to make that reverse pass. As they're going to look to edge closer and closer to victory. Of course, this would be their second victory in 90 minutes in the National League Cup. And they're back to winning ways, or I suppose they're going to end the National League Cup, the group stage, in winning ways, following their 3-1 defeat against Forest. But they've been a strong outfit against this West Ham side. And they look to come again now, West Ham. Adieli, not the best ball, and Harvey collects and goes to the ground as you would expect. Of course, West Ham now in third, but without this victory it means they can't go any higher. So elimination from the National League Cup is on the horizon for them, but they've had some really good performances in it, and Mark Robson can take plenty of positives away from this. They've come up against a senior physical opposition in Dagenham and Redbridge as they look to try and come again down the right hand side. The West Ham had 2 really positive games, specifically against Sutton, where they managed to keep the clean sheet and score 2. Of course, there are still plenty of opportunities to play against senior sides now. Of course, the EFL Trophy being one of them, probably the most prestigious in terms of the level of opponent. They looked to try and slide it through. It wasn't going to find Swire. Robinson was a possibility, but shortly found out that he wasn't, as Hill will play it all the way back to Harvey, who's had a good game there in between the sticks. Good header from Clayton. So punch it in again. Not afraid to put in a challenge, Regan Clayton. Here's Adieli. Now Fearon. As the last minute looms on for West Ham. Could an incredibly unlikely comeback be complete? Unfortunately not with passes like that from Tarima. And now they look to come forward. Fearon trying to sprint back, but in the 90th minute, that's going to be tough asking as Hill has time to strike and Herrick will palm it over. And it will be another Dagenham corner. Continuing to put pressure on this young West Ham side, the hosts. So 30 seconds left. And West Ham have more defending to do. And another corner. Ryan Hill on that far side. To send in this delivery. Plenty of height. It's met by a Dagenham and Redbridge head, but just before then there was a foul committed. Five minutes added on. I suppose for all the substitutions that have happened, only two have been made by Mark Robson. He often likes to make a couple. Of course, the likes of Dolligan and Louis Brown still on the bench. Of course, Tarima did come on. It was Sean Moore and Clayton who came on at the same time. So 3 made by Mark Robson compared to 5 made by Lewis Young. Still yet to see much of Brad Dolligan so far this season. Another player with plenty of potential. And Zach Patter. And Robinson. He's fouled and West Ham have a free kick, of course. Still being hopeful here, but there is time. And West Ham have to take the free kick first. And Patter and Fearon fancy themselves. So do Clayton, or so does Clayton. He's fancied a few of his efforts so far in the second half since coming on for Ryan Batcham after the half-time break. But it will be Preston Fearon, one of West Ham's brighter players this evening. He'll chip it over towards Adieli. What a move that would have been. Couldn't quite keep it under control and allows Dagenham to just clear it up the field. They can't leave their half though, and here's Parsons. Hill with the smart first-time pass in towards Parsons again. Strong header from Clayton. Patter with the clearance, doesn't go far. Cut out by Clayton. Really showing his determination there late on here to just win the ball back and leave everything out there after this positive second half display. Of course, after this, West Ham travel to Leeds away. That'll be a kick-off time on Monday night, the 27th of 7 p.m. And then, of course, the Friday night game later on next week. So 2.5 minutes left of the 5 added on. And Dagenham edging closer to potentially finishing in the top 2. But this is another opportunity. This is good. Those bodies get into the box, but they're just quite slow with it. But here's Fearon, who's like to make things happen so far. He's unable to make something happen there, but what he does do is he wins the corner. West Ham showing their fight until the very end here at Victoria Lane. Now Adieli leaving it towards Clayton as he hangs one in. Golombekis rises, Harvey punches it away. Fearon. Back towards Adieli. Unable to just keep it under their spell. Adieli with the late challenge, but they play advantage and Dagenham come forward. No time for corner flag. But they're taking it there now. Spoke a bit too soon there. Here's Clayton, and now the assistant referee's flag is raised. So it will be a West Ham free kick. Here's Tarima. Fed back by Robinson. Tarima doesn't see a viable option in front of him, so Golombekis receives. And Mayers. Clayton just trying to chip it over nicely to Swire. Adieli keeping on that run towards the byline. Can they make something happen? Just haven't been able to make it work in the penalty box. The play around it's been strong and smart at times from the Hammers. They just haven't had that clinical edge in the final third or in the penalty area. But still plenty of positives to take for Mark Robson's side. And their focus now goes on to the Premier League 2 and finishing as high up as they can in that. They're safely in the playoff spots, so that isn't or shouldn't be a worry. But that is the end of the action here at their second home. It was an early goal in the first half and an early goal in the second. That meant Dagenham walk away with all 3 points. It ends here 2-0. As mentioned, still plenty of positives to take for Mark Robson's men. They now travel to Leeds. And now it's full focus on the Premier League 2 and finishing as high up in that as they can. Full time, 2-0 to Dagenham.